Hello, welcome back to WWE 2K20 Universe Mode, and we are here on the final Smackdown before Survivor Series, the Go Home Show, and we are kicking things off today with a big match here. Keith Lee coming out here, of course losing out and being in the Survivor Series team, losing to EC3, but Keith Lee out here tonight, taking on another member of the men's Survivor Series team for Smackdown, for the first time ever taking on Cesaro here on Smackdown. Going to be a very interesting match between those two, but before we get started, make sure to give us a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. You do not want to miss Survivor Series, which will be coming up in the next few days. Make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss a single thing going on here in Universe Mode. Of course, Cesaro really managed to turn things around for himself, beating Adam Cole last week. A huge victory for Cesaro in the main event. And now taking on Keith Lee here tonight, a man who greatly outsizes Cesaro, but you cannot forget about the strength that Cesaro has. He is able to just lift anyone up. But Keith Lee getting off to a very strong start against Cesaro here, taking him down straight away, catching Cesaro off guard. Got to think Keith was probably quite upset that he ended up not being able to get into the men's Survivor Series team. You could perhaps call it a bit of an upset that EC3 beat Keith Lee just based on the size of the two men, but you got to say Keith Lee, he's had some big wins here in Universe Mode, but he's also had some big losses here in Universe Mode. He has kind of not been able to get the big one, if I'm honest. Teaming up with Roman Reigns, losing against DIY, teaming up with Goldberg, losing against Strowman and Gargano, losing in that big fatal four-way match for the Universal Championship at Clash of Champions. Keith's always had the opportunities, but he's not been able to fully use those opportunities, let's be honest. He hasn't been able to win the big matches. And Cesaro here is definitely looking to put behind the Undisputed Era, now looking to move forward to Survivor Series, forgetting about all the issues he's had with the Undisputed Era, and continue this newfound alliance that he has with the Gable Academy. Cesaro, big belly-to-belly suplex there to Keith Lee, taking him overhead. Very impressive indeed from Cesaro, and a big uppercut, taking Lee down to the mat. Also on tonight's edition of Smackdown, we are welcoming a Raw superstar over to Smackdown for a one-on-one match with our Smackdown Women's Champion, Nikki Cross, being invited to come and take on the Smackdown Women's Champion ahead of the Champion vs. Champion match at Survivor Series between Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. And of course, in our main event, you cannot forget what happened last week. Shane McMahon came out, talked to Braun Strowman, has given Braun what he wants. He's given Braun a one-on-one match for that Universal Championship at TLC, and he will not punish him for what he did in the past, throwing Shane through a car windshield. But Braun Strowman has to team up with Shane McMahon here tonight in our main event, and he has to play by the rules. He has to not attack Shane McMahon, not cheat in the match, not walk out on the match, and the same thing applies for the 4-on-4 Survivor Series match at Survivor Series. If Strowman does all those things, then he gets his championship match against Tommaso Ciampa one-on-one at Tables, Ladders and Chairs, our next pay-per-view here in Universe Mode. Keith Lee trying to get himself back into this match, throwing the punch to Cesaro, but Cesaro getting the elbow to the gut of Keith Lee, taking him down to the mat with a big uppercut onto Lee. And now trying to lift up the big man, but Keith Lee managing to prevent Cesaro from doing it, catching him with one hand to slam him down with a chokeslam-esque move. 1, 2, only a 2 count there for Keith Lee. Cesaro still able to kick out of that despite Keith Lee really taking it to Cesaro. Cesaro now, oh my goodness, throwing Keith Lee up in the air like he is nothing and catching him with an uppercut on the way down, and that move is just more effective the bigger your opponent is. You just think about the gravity pushing down Keith Lee back towards the mat as he goes into that uppercut. Brutal. And now Cesaro calling Keith Lee back to his feet, looking for that sharpshooter maybe, but Keith reversing, hitting to the back of Cesaro, taking Cesaro back down to the mat, not allowing himself to put into the submission. And a big standing moonsault from Keith Lee. Keith out here trying to prove something here tonight, trying to prove something at Cesaro's expense. But Keith should have been the man in the Survivor Series match But Cesaro getting the knees up, preventing Lee from being able to hit that big moonsault from the top rope. Now Cesaro rebounding Lee into the ropes, throwing him up, catching with another massive uppercut there. Is Keith out? 1, 2, 3. Cesaro picking up the big victory here tonight, catching Keith Lee out of nowhere with that huge uppercut and knocking out Keith Lee. What a victory for Cesaro here tonight to be able to pin Keith Lee like that. Very impressive indeed, but I would love to see another match between those two in the future. But Cesaro picking up the big win going into the Survivor Series 4-on-4 match. Team SmackDown versus Team Raw at Survivor Series. You got to think Cesaro on the up and up here in Universe mode. Potentially getting some gold around his waist sooner rather than later. And with the Royal Rumble coming up, you got to think maybe an outsider to win the Rumble perhaps. This man right here. But next up, out comes Dana Brooke. She's going to be teaming up with her tag team partner here tonight, making their tag team debut here on SmackDown, alongside her tag team partner Mandy Rose. It's been very interesting to see if they can pick up a big victory here tonight over our women's tag team champions, Nia Jax and Dakota Kai. Of course, they will be going forward to Survivor Series to go up against the team of Ember Moon and Bianca Belair. It's going to be very interesting to see how those guys work together as a team. They've only had one actual tag team match with Batista. He was so impressed that he decided that was going to be the team to represent Monday Night Raw, going for those women's tag team championships at Survivor Series. But it's going to be very difficult to do that. Nia Jax and Dakota Kai undefeated as a tag team here in Universe mode. They just work so well together. They've just been able to hold onto that gold all the way. And last month at Hell in a Cell, of course, they did beat our current SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks and her tag partner Bayley for those tag team titles, with Dakota Kai pinning the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks in the middle of the ring. You got to think that's going to set up Dakota Kai for a future SmackDown Women's opportunity, but they have to get themselves through Survivor Series first and hold on to those tag team titles. Of course, Nia did start the match very dominant, as you would expect, using big power moves over Dana Brooke, working on her, and then it was the quick tag into Dakota Kai. These two really on the same page, and it looked like it was going to be all over with the chiropractor to Mandy Rose. Dakota going for the pin for 1, 2, 3, and that was all she wrote for this one. Dakota and Nia Jax, of course, looking forward to Survivor Series, going up against Bianca Belair and Ember Moon. Can they hold on to their women's tag team championships? We're going to have to see, but they are undefeated as a tag team going into Survivor Series. But next up, like we said earlier in the night, we do have a guest from Monday Night Raw here tonight on SmackDown. Sasha Banks is here, and she is going to be taking on Nikki Cross here tonight, the tag team partner of Alexa Bliss, the Raw Women's Champion. Of course, Sasha a few weeks did take the fight to Alexa Bliss, turning up on Monday Night Raw, attacking Alexa with multiple kendo stick shots to the back. Kind of taking a bit of a cheap advantage over Alexa Bliss, did Sasha Banks. But tonight she has the opportunity to go one-on-one with Alexa's tag partner Nikki Cross, and as you can see, the Raw Women's Champion is here. She is here to watch this match from ringside to get an idea of what Sasha Banks is like inside the ring. Of course, if Nikki Cross gets a big victory here tonight, that would be massive for Nikki Cross, who has been unfortunately not doing too well in Universe mode, not picking up any victories yet in tag team or singles competition. Nikki Cross could really do with the big victory here tonight, and an upset over the SmackDown Women's Champion, that would be massive indeed. But Sasha Banks starting this, taking it straight away to Nikki Cross. Big kick to the side of the head from Sasha Banks, and now going to the outside, looking to get in the face of Alexa Bliss, but Alexa just throwing Sasha back into the ring to Nikki. Alexa not interested in playing any games with Sasha Banks right now. Of course, Alexa's going to have something else on her mind as well. Of course, if you haven't seen Monday Night Raw, make sure to go back and check it out. But on Monday Night Raw, we did see Nikki Cross was attacked by Rhea Ripley before their match on Monday Night Raw. Rhea Ripley setting her claim that she wants back her Raw Women's Championship, saying that she is going to be coming for Alexa Bliss after Survivor Series to get back what is rightfully hers, because of course Alexa Bliss pinned Rhea Ripley 1 week before Hell in a Cell in the main event of Monday Night Raw, and Rhea not happy about losing her championship in her first defense of the belt and wants that championship back and is aiming for the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss. And of course on the SmackDown side, you got to think Dakota Kai going for that championship sooner rather than later. Gonna want to get her arms on that championship, get 2 belts around her waist. I'm sure she would love that. But after pinning the SmackDown Women's Champion, you got to think that is going to be in the future for Dakota Kai. But you can't forget about the fact, of course, we have the big 4 versus 4 Women's Survivor Series match. You got to think if someone impresses in that match or they get a big victory for their team, then that could also be the next person who stands up to the champion. That would make a lot of sense if, as a reward for getting a victory, Shane or Batista decided, hey, you guys get a future Women's Championship opportunity. You never know what is going to happen here in Universe Mode. We'll have to see how that all works out though. Nikki trying to fire her way back into this. Sasha getting the punch to the gut of Nikki Cross. And Nikki catching the leg. Big clothesline taking down Sasha Banks to the mat. And of course, talking about Monday Night Raw, you can't forget what happened on this edition of Monday Night Raw. Wait a second, Sasha Banks I think was trying to go back over to Alexa Bliss, but Nikki Cross grabbing her for a neck breaker to take her down to the mat. But on this edition of Monday Night Raw, Batista invited General Manager of SmackDown Shane McMahon to Monday Night Raw. But of course it was not Shane McMahon who turned up. It was an old man, a slightly larger, very small old man with very thinning hair who turned up to face Batista's challenge. And they ended up having a one-on-one match, and Batista sending a message to what he is going to do to Shane McMahon at Survivor Series, completely obliterating this man with a Batista bomb in the middle of the ring, and then pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. And got to think, perhaps Shane, oh my goodness, Sasha Banks diving out, Meteora to Alexa Bliss on the outside, sending a message to her Survivor Series opponent is Sasha Banks. And now, big takedown there from Sasha to Nikki Cross. Oh my goodness, indeed, catching me off guard there is Sasha Banks. But Nikki Cross trying to take advantage of the fact that Sasha was distracted with the Raw Women's Champion on the outside. But Sasha Banks getting the reversal, catching Nikki Cross and planting her with a big move there. And now getting her back up house, looking for that bank statement, looking for the end of this one. And yes, she is. The bank statement, is it going to be locked in successfully? Yes, it is. Bank statement locked in. Is she going to be forced to tap out? Is Nikki Cross going to be forced to tap out to Sasha Banks right here? Or can she hold on right now? Can she hold on for her tag team partner Alexa Bliss? Or is she going to be forced to tap out by Sasha Banks? And yes, she does. Sasha Banks, the message clearly sent to Alexa Bliss on the outside that Sasha is going to make Alexa Bliss tap at Survivor Series, locking that bank statement, and there is no escape in the slightest. Sasha Banks saying that Alexa Bliss is gonna tap out to that bank statement at Survivor Series. It's gonna be very interesting to see when these two women go face to face at the big event. Who is gonna be able to come out on top? Sasha Banks has sent her message. She has clearly been more dominant in the build to this match, but you can't deny Alexa Bliss. She has managed to get some very lucky victories, like we talked about getting that victory over Rhea Ripley to become the Raw Women's Champion. That was a very lucky victory for Alexa Bliss. But wait a second, Sasha Banks coming out of the ring, going after Alexa Bliss right now, putting her fist up to Alexa Bliss. Wait a second, what is Sasha doing here? Going underneath the ring. Is she getting out a kendo stick? Yes, she is getting that kendo stick out. And now going after Bliss. Attacking Bliss with the kendo stick once again. Sasha Banks taking the advance, trying to do damage to Alexa Bliss before the big show, attacking her with the kendo stick multiple times. Wow. Very rude from Sasha Banks, but Sasha Banks standing tall going into Survivor Series. Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion, but backstage, the WWE Champion is here and he has come face to face with the Universal Champion, Tommaso Ciampa. These two men coming to a blow before their match at Survivor Series, the WWE Champion and the Universal Champion. Coming to blows before their big Survivor Series match. Drew McIntyre attacking Tommaso Ciampa after Ciampa pushed Drew McIntyre back. These two going at it right now. Both of these men have been taking time off of their shows to get themselves prepared for this huge match at Survivor Series. Drew did make his return to Raw this week for a big 6-man main event on Monday Night Raw, but Ciampa has not been seen on SmackDown. He's been getting ready for this match after his Hell in a Cell contest with Roman Reigns, but the chair shot to the head from Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa hitting Drew with the chair, but Drew grabbing the chair, hitting Ciampa with it as well. And now Drew McIntyre, what is he thinking of here? Throwing Ciampa into the corner, trying to get a big blow to the back, but Ciampa moving out of the way. These two men brawling throughout the locker room right now. Ciampa, where is he taking Drew McIntyre? Drew managing to get an elbow to the gut of Ciampa as Ciampa looks to put Drew through a table in the backstage area. But Ciampa thrown into the TV, and wait a second. Future Shock DDT in the backstage area, in the dressing room, and now Drew calling Ciampa back to his feet, calling him to his feet, looking for what I think is that Claymore kick, and yes it is, Claymore kick to Ciampa. And Drew again calling Ciampa up again for the third time. Drew really taking it to Ciampa, but Ciampa grabbing the leg, knee to the head. He is not giving up just yet. And low blow to Drew McIntyre, low blow to Drew. Ciampa's devious ways getting him the advantage right now, somehow managing to get back up after that Claymore, and desperation leading him to hit that low blow onto McIntyre. And wait a second, Ciampa, come on, no Ciampa. Huge powerbomb through the table in the backstage area. Tommaso Ciampa brutally assaulting the WWE Champion. My goodness, of course, at Survivor Series we will be seeing WWE Champion versus Universal Champion Drew McIntyre versus Tommaso Ciampa one-on-one. That is going to be a very interesting match between those two. Of course, Ciampa has only been defeated once in Universe mode. Can Drew McIntyre be the second man to pin the Universal Champion? But next up on SmackDown, our Intercontinental Champion is going to be in action. Of course, at Survivor Series, the Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins will be going one-on-one with the United States Champion Aleister Black. And now that is going to be a fascinating match between those two. Aleister Black, of course, has only taken one loss while being champion, the United States Champion. Since going to Raw, he's only taken one loss. And while Seth Rollins, he has taken more losses, but you look at what's been going on these past few weeks. Aleister Black on Monday Night Raw has been forced to defend his United States Championship every single week up until Survivor Series. And Rollins, well, he's taken some time off essentially. He was here 2 weeks ago accompanying the Church of Rollins to ringside, and he has not been seen apart from that. But now tonight having a warm-up match against Tucker here tonight to see, well, to get himself in ring-ready condition for this one. And Tucker looked to be going to upset the Intercontinental Champion very early in this one with that bear hug, but Rollins managing to fight out of it. Of course, a few weeks ago it was the Church of Rollins pinning Heavy Machinery a couple of weeks ago here on SmackDown, and Rollins now taking it very clearly to Tucker, and it was all going to be over with this. The big curb stomp to Tucker. Seth Rollins sending his meshes to Aleister Black. All it's going to take one curb stomp to the back of the head, and Aleister Black is going to be down. And the Church of Rollins very excited indeed with that big victory. And Rollins, he is looking forward to Survivor Series, looking forward to taking it to the United States Champion Aleister Black in a one-on-one match. Can Seth Rollins put down the undefeatable United States Champion? We are going to have to wait and see. But we move on to our main event of the evening, and of course it is a huge tag team match, the last match for Survivor Series. The Street Profits have taken this match. Shane asked any tag team on the SmackDown roster, didn't mind who it was, he just wanted someone to be in this match with them. And the Street Profits, they didn't mind, they have taken up the challenge and they look forward to the big opportunity they have tonight. But It isn't really about the profits here tonight. It is about the other two men in this match. Of course, last week, Shane McMahon came out to confront Braun Strowman and told him that they need Braun. They need Braun on Team SmackDown to be able to make sure that they can get the big victory at Survivor Series, because this is such an important victory for SmackDown. And Braun, he agreed. He wanted to not let Batista be able to gloat. But Braun Strowman had to promise that he would not cheat, not attack Shane McMahon, not get himself counted out, anything like that, at this or at Survivor Series if he wants his reward, which will be a Universal Championship match with Tommaso Ciampa one-on-one at TLC. And if Braun can manage to get that, then that would be a very difficult position for Tommaso Ciampa to be in going forward. But Braun has run into this match straight away, wanting to take it to the Street Profits, not even waiting for Shane McMahon to make his entrance. Shane has unfortunately had to come out here without any music here tonight, but he is out here for this tag team match, and Braun now taking it to Montez Ford. And it wasn't cheating. They went head to head with each other, so no cheating there from Braun Strowman, just perhaps not what Shane would have entirely liked, but Braun's going to do what Braun's going to do, to be honest with you. And now Braun and Montez Ford in there, two extremely different competitors. Montez, of course, high-flying, very quick around the ring, and Braun just a monster, just a complete monster that is going to decimate whoever he's in there with. Of course, imagine if Montez and Angelo get the big victory here tonight. That would be A, crazy, and B, that would not particularly look good for SmackDown's chances at Survivor Series if Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman took a loss before going into their big matches. Of course, Shane McMahon will be going one-on-one with the general manager of Monday Night Raw, Batista, at Survivor Series, and Braun will be part of that 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. But you got to look back to what else happened last week. After Shane came out to talk to Braun Strowman in the backstage area, Shane was attacked out of nowhere with a big RKO, taking Shane McMahon down. Hopefully none of that will happen tonight. Hopefully no Batista showing up here tonight, or any of his goons, whether that be Randy Orton or Andrade or anyone else from the Raw team. Hopefully none of them show up here tonight. And Shane, I apologise, Braun almost had the match won there with that triangle chokehold, almost making Montez Ford tap out, but Braun Strowman deciding to let go of the hold, and now the running power slam to Montez Ford. Is that going to be enough? Wait a second, Braun deciding to knock Angelo Dawkins off the side, but Angelo Dawkins getting the fist to Braun Strowman, knocking him silly for a second. Doing everything he can, to try and keep his tag team partner alive in this one. And again, a second fist to the face from Angelo Dawkins, but Braun this time was able to get Angelo Dawkins off of the apron, and now tagging into Shane McMahon, allowing Shane to get that pinfall, I guess. But is it going to be enough? Has too much time to pass. Montez was just moving 1, 2, and he kicks out at 2. Of course, there was such a long amount of time there between Braun Strowman's running power slam and the pin from Shane McMahon. And now Shane, he wants to get in there. He wants to take it to Montez Ford. He wants to get some warm-up in himself before his big match at Survivor Series. This is Shane McMahon's first official match here on Friday Night SmackDown. And he is taking it to Angelo Dawkins right now with those punches, those series of punches. And now using the ropes to bulldog Angelo Dawkins down. And Shane celebrating the fact that he managed to get some moves in. Of course, Shane, not a trained wrestler, so him getting any offense in is always great for Shane McMahon to see. Of course, he's done some training in his own way, but he's nowhere near a professional wrestler to the same standards of any of these men. And like you can see from his punches, his punches can't even knock anyone down. And Angelo Dawkins, Fez press to Shane McMahon, laying in those punches to Shane, showing him what a real punch is, perhaps. I do not know how Shane is going to compete in there against Batista. It's going to be a very interesting match, to say the least. How on earth is Shane McMahon going to be able to hang in the ring with Batista? I do not know, but throwing Angelo Dawkins into the corner, looking to the tag with Braun Strowman, but Angelo reversing, getting the clothesline onto Shane to take him down. Because I'm sure the Street Profits, not wanting to hurt Shane McMahon in the slightest, they wouldn't want to jeopardise the chances of SmackDown getting the big victory at Survivor Series. Of course, I'm sure either Montez or Angelo would love to get that number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble. And now Braun getting in the ring. Not really what you should be doing, Braun, but wait a second. Big tag team move, though, from Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. Braun celebrating right now, but Angelo Dawkins kicking out. Braun needs to get out of the ring before he gets counted out in this one. Braun kind of playing it a bit loose there, but not breaking Shane McMahon's rules. Yes, I know that he did end up touching Shane a little bit, but I think Shane knows that was a misunderstanding in this one. Braun Strowman looking for that tag to Shane McMahon. He wants the tag. And now Shane deciding not to go for that tag, planting Angelo Dawkins down in the corner. Is he looking for it? I think he is. He is going to be going up to that top rope. And we all know what this means. His signature move, the coast to coast onto Angelo Dawkins in the corner. Is that enough for Shane McMahon to be able to pin one half of the Street Profits? Shane McMahon going down for that pin. 1, 2. No, Angelo Dawkins kicking out of the coast to coast. Not enough to put away Angelo. And Braun trying to get himself into the match, trying to tag into Shane McMahon right now. Braun getting annoyed that he is having to wait for Shane McMahon. He wants in this match. He has had enough of being on the apron. And finally Shane deciding to tag into Braun Strowman again. And now Braun in there, taking it to, wait a second, get in the face of the referee. Probably not the best idea, Braun. Montez Ford tagging in. Ooh, accidentally taking down the referee there, did Braun Strowman, and knocking Shane McMahon down, but I think it was by accident again. Braun Strowman playing it very, very fine with the rules here in terms of what he's going to get for that, in terms of him getting that Universal Championship match. I think everything's fine at the moment being. Shane doesn't appear to have had enough yet. But I'm sure if Braun manages to be there at Survivor Series, that is going to be enough for Shane McMahon. Braun and Montez back at it again like the beginning of the match. And Braun looking to drop Montez Ford onto the top rope. Oh my goodness. Taking all the air out from inside of Montez Ford. And celebrating over Montez. He lies there. And now calling him up to his feet. Looking for the end. What is Braun thinking here? And once again getting in that triangle chokehold to Montez Ford. Is Montez going to be forced to tap out this time? Or is Braun going to release the hold yet again? Just like he did last time. Montez been in there for a long old time. He is trying his hardest to stay in this. But Braun, he decides to release the hold. Releasing Montez Ford. Deciding that he wants to end this the only way he knows how. And you know what that is. It is going to be that running power slam, you've got to think, calling Montez up to his feet. This has got to be the end for Montez Ford here tonight. Braun Strowman for the second time running a power slam, and this time not bothering to tag in Shane McMahon, going for the pin himself, and he does get it. Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon, sure, there were some issues in their match, but they did stay on the same side throughout it. And Braun Strowman's still on track for that Universal Championship match. But of course he does have to show up to Survivor Series and be part of that 4-on-4 Survivor Series match for SmackDown. We'll have to see whether Braun makes his way there or not. But Shane picking up his first victory here in Universe Mode ahead of his big Survivor Series match against General Manager of Monday Night Raw, Batista, at Survivor Series. And I don't know what on earth Shane's going to do to be able to win that one, but it's always a chance. There's always hope. You never know what's going to happen here in Universe Mode. And thank you so much for watching. And of course, we will see... Wait a second. He's here. The General Manager of Monday Night Raw, Batista. Batista turning up to make the statement here tonight. He is turned up to SmackDown with Andrade and Randy Orton. Andrade, of course, the leader of the Raw Survivor Series team. And Randy Orton, who dropped Shane McMahon with an RKO last week. Batista coming down here. Shane in the middle of the ring, not backing down, but Batista. Huge clothesline to Shane, taking him down. trying to do what he did to the other Shane McMahon. And wait a second, trying to attack Braun Strowman, but Braun not even moving on the outside, just staring down Batista, and Batista running away from Braun Strowman, it looks like. Wait a second, that slight distraction, no, could have been enough. Could have been enough for Shane, but not. Wait a second, Shane though. Shane getting the reversal, Can Shane do this? Shane, angle slam, Olympic slam to Batista. Wait a second. Oh my goodness, he's got him in a chokehold. Is he going to force Batista to tap out? Is Batista going to be forced to tap out on the final show before Survivor Series? Batista, oh my goodness, powering out of that triangle chokehold, but he has been embarrassed by Shane McMahon right there. He has been embarrassed by Shane and Braun Strowman, and Batista running away. Shane McMahon celebrating like a madman after being able to prove something to Batista here tonight, putting him in that chokehold. Can Shane McMahon beat Batista at Survivor Series? Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.